Okay, this video is going to show you how to set up it's going to be a walkthrough of Angr Labs, the code lab. It's going to show you how to set up the compute engine instance with the Docker container on that compute engine instance. So you may have made a new project for yourself if you haven't already. Go up here and click New Project. When you do that, you are, I think you will automatically get a linked billing account. But if you don't, go to this hamburger menu, click billing. It says I have multiple. You will need to have loaded that coupon that was sent to you in the email, and then you can associate a project if it's not already done by going to My Projects, selecting the corresponding project, and then change billing, and then choosing a billing account. So that is how you get your billing account set up so that you can run a compute engine instance. So go to the hamburger menu, compute engine VM instances, and then make sure your project is selected. And you will be creating an application here in the GUI. You can do this with the gcloud command line tool, but the GUI is more suited for a video anyways. So let's call these I called them Angr Labs before, but I realized that's not good. I'll call them Angr Homeworks. And then put that instance in US West Oregon, B, DALs. Keep that N1 standard, you need the memory. Change your boot disk to a Ubuntu OS 18.04. Keep the access controls the same, and you don't need to firewall this at all. Well, open up 80 or 443. Now this guy will spin up, and you'll be able to connect to it with an SSH button here. I'm tempted to try to set up SSH with my own keys. I think I'm going to do that because I don't like this SSH terminal. I think I'll try to show you what it looks like. Oh, you know what? Fine. Let's see how it goes. Okay, that's not what I wanted, sorry. SSH. Here we are. So it'll do this whole thing for you. But I don't actually enjoy this very much, so while I wait for this to load, I will show you how to get your own. Okay, here it is. And it's just a terminal. It may work well for you, but it's been glitchy in the past, so I often opt to just put my own keys on the container, on the instance, sorry, and then SSH into it from my machine. So in order to do that, you need to generate a key value pair, a public key pair, and I think do this in your .ssh directory, and I think it's ssh key -gen keygen. And then I'm not going to specify the protocol. I would like to save it as malware examples. Actually, let's not do the project, we're going to do the instance name. Angr Homeworks. And no passphrase. So you can see that I have I should also have a .pub file. I have these two files in my .ssh directory. Now to put them on this VM instance, I need to edit it, and then you just add custom metadata here. So this is where I enter my public SSH key, and I can do that here by catting the value to pcopy and paste. Wow, are you kidding me? That's not a private key. It's not supposed to be a private key. I'm gonna have to delete this whole video. It's because I did not have the .pub. Whoa, baby, that's a foul. That's a faux pas. Maybe I should have changed my username, would have been helpful. I don't know how I feel about that. Might delete the video. Who knows? Let's see if I can successfully SSH onto there first try. Oh, I'm being a dingus. There's a better way to do this. Okay, this is one way to do it. So I could take this external IP, SSH, and I need to use the appropriate user, which is my other handle. I need to specify my identity file. Identity file is okay. So this is one way of getting on the machine. You SSH and then you specify the private key, username, and the external IP. And you can see that we were on that VM instance. So we'll get into the homeworks. This might have even warranted a second video, but I'll show you real quickly that you can also use the gcloud command line tool. So I could have done config list, config set project to malware examples. I need to use the project ID. So this is the gcloud command line tool. Probably a little more than you need to know, but if you're frequently getting on the instance, it could be helpful to have a good workflow. How dare you? gcloud config set project. Updated the properties. So if I do gcloud config list, I've got the appropriate project with my right account, and now I can gcloud compute SSH Angr homeworks. Is this how it works? Angr homeworks. Oh, I wouldn't know. Compute SSH Angr homeworks. It wants me to log in. Okay. So I'll just do. This works well. It's kind of, I think it's legacy. Perhaps not. I don't know. Fabulous. Thanks, Google. Okay, so now you can also run this command, gcloud compute SSH Angr homeworks. And it's updating some more metadata stuff. It's taking its time. And this is yet another way to get onto the instance. Lovely. So since we're here, let's proceed with the instructions. So we're going to install Docker. I wonder if this instruction, let's just add that anyways. Okay, and now we need to log out and log back in. So we ran these 4 commands, and then we need to hop back on the container again, or the VM, sorry. And the binaries are located here. Thankfully, we can use this Python script provided by Woo to grab those binaries with your username and password. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just go all the way up to the, so this top 4 lines, these guys are going to take care of your virtualized Python environment. So we're installing a bunch of stuff with apt, we're making some directories and changing into them, we're starting up a virtualized environment, and we're creating a virtualized environment and activating it, and then we're going to get the beautiful soup package as well as requests. And after that, we will run wget to get the Python script to grab the binaries, and then we will unzip them and assign them the appropriate permissions. Okay. We are in the correct environment. Let's get our virtualized environment started up. Good. You can tell that you're in a virtualized environment because there's going to be this env to the left hand side of your username on the machine you're on. We'll run pip. Actually, I'm kind of curious what the... Oh, not what I wanted. I don't recall this being a Python 2. That's not good. Alright. We've got the Python script, and I'm going to use the demo profile. Great. Let's unzip this. And chmod appropriately. Great. Next up, we will run the course Angr Docker container. So it's hosted on Docker Hub. Docker Hub is a repository for Docker containers, if you're not familiar with that. A Docker container is basically like a frozen sort of operating system. It utilizes a lot of the host machines' libraries. That's why they're fairly lightweight. But we'll be using that because it'll have all of the necessary software installed on it. So, yeah, it has GDB, Radar 2, tmux, and amongst other things. So let us pull this instance down, seeing as we have Docker now. And we're going to come over here. And run this command. So it can't find it locally, it'll pull it. And we have a command to disable ASLR. I was wondering what that was. Under the security options. Just a second on this. Oh, I should probably edit the video. Maybe not. Alright. Pull is complete. And it should be running. You can view running Docker containers with Docker PS. And if you have stopped containers, you can view all your containers with Docker PS-A. So you see the name, the container ID, the command that you run. Oftentimes you'll run bin bash, so you just want to run a shell on the machine that you are utilizing. It's uptime, and then it'll have its own special name. So sorry, this is actually the image. This is the name of the container, upbeat Morse. They'll be randomly generated, and we have a shell on that. So we can view our Docker images here, and you'll see that we are using this image here from this repository with a particular tag, and it is actually rather large. So that's what we get from here. Now we can stop and start the container with the following commands. So you would do docker stop, and then you can provide the container ID is sufficient, or you can provide the container name. Let's do the container ID just for kicks. Oh gosh, I'm telling you, if I could just not have to hit Control-Shift-C, that would be lovely. Okay, so we've stopped it. It's stopping. And now we can view it PS-A, even though the PS wouldn't work because it's not running. We can start the container image. Or the container instance. Whatever you would like to call it. It's not an image. The image can turn into, it can be replicated into multiple containers, right? So don't want to get that lingo confused. We can also exec a command onto the container, and that command is going to be bin bash. So now we are on our GCP compute engine instance, and in that compute engine instance we're on the Docker container that contains the Angr framework that we're going to use for the remaining homeworks. So let's make sure that we got everything here. Yep, good to go. There is a link to a tmux tutorial here. I'll use tmux just for demonstrations purposes. I actually quite enjoy tmux. It's terminal multiplexer is what it stands for, I believe. So we're in the appropriate directory, Angr CTF. We're going to want to run this command to copy. There's these scaffolded levels here, which we can view. I believe VI is on. Yeah. So there's a lot to read. These are terrific levels, but we need to run this bash loop real quick. Shift V, and we view the output. We have our solves where we will put our solutions. So you edit the solve with the solution for the appropriate Angr binary, and then you will get the correct output here, and then you put that on the malware submission, homework submission site, and then you are good to go for whatever level that may be. Okay, so that is the Angr lab through and through. Now to exit tmux, you hit Control D, assuming you have no more panes, I think. And then if you are on your Docker image, you would hit Control D yet again. This is just like logging out, and then once more Control D to get back to your host machine. And when you are done with this, make sure that you come here to your compute engine instance, and it's not a small instance, so it's advisable to go here and then stop the instance, which will not delete it, but it will trash anything in memory, so that's going to be lost. But once it's stopped, you don't incur any charges, so that can save you a couple bucks. The cost of running one of these things for a month is like half of your coupon, but you can just apply that coupon in the future. It won't expire for about a year, so you might as well save some money if you can, and then just start the instance back up when you want to do more work. So that, I think, is the final, that is probably all I have to say on this, and I hope that this is helpful in a walkthrough, to get you guys going. If you have any questions, let me know.